yes, I'll take that as a
Oh yeah, excited.
okay, so if you don't have, find things that look like blocks, or they could be like large books or something. You just want something to like put your hands up on.
Got it.
Cool. And then a blanket if you have it, or a pillow. If you're near a couch, you can use like a couch cushion or something. But yeah. And I don't know if Mariana's coming, but we can get started. So we can all start seated in Virasana, or you can sit cross-legged. So Virasana is sitting with a block or 2 blocks in between your heels. And then just sitting up on it. Or if you just want to sit like crisscross applesauce, like you're in grade school, you can do that. And then from there, just find your heels pressing against the block, your knees are pressing together. And then just rock yourself a little bit forward and back, kind of like you're doing cats and cows, like rounding and arching your spine until you can find the midpoint of in between your sits bones, pressing straight down on the block. Then once you find that little midpoint, you can take any rocks or circles you want, and you can let your eyes come to a close. And we'll just start with some breath work. Just to get into it, getting our bodies and minds into the space wherever we are. Hands can be face up or face down on your thighs for now. And just notice your breath. Notice how deep your inhales and exhales are. Notice how long it takes for each one. You can listen to them. Notice if you're breathing through your nose or your mouth more habitually. And we'll take one inhale and exhale all together before we start 2 different breath techniques. So on your next exhale, we'll all meet on empty. So exhale out all your breath. Then take one big inhale through the nose. And then big sigh, exhale out the mouth. And from there, come back to your normal breath. We're gonna start a breath of the seasons. So after your next exhale, you're gonna inhale. Imagine that you're inhaling everything up the front body for spring, all the energy, the new growth that happens. Hold it at the top once you've breathed in all your air for summer. Big sigh, exhale out the mouth, let the leaves fall down your back for fall, and then hold it on empty at the bottom for winter. Inhale energy up the front of your body for spring. Hold it at the top for summer. Exhale, big sigh, let the breath fall down your back for fall. Hold it on empty for winter. Inhale up the front body, beginning the cycle of the seasons. Hold it at the top for summer. Let it all fall down, getting ready for winter with fall. Let everything hold on empty for the barrenness of winter. Last one, inhale, big inhale up the front for spring. Hold it at the top, let everything ripen for summer. Exhale, biggest sigh, let it all slide down your back. Hold it on empty for winter. Come back to your normal breath. Just take a few inhales and exhales and notice how that cyclical breath has maybe changed or maybe not changed how your normal breath is. Great. And we'll take one more that I really like to do. It's called the Virasana breath. And if you need to open your eyes to just see what I'm doing, feel free, but hopefully I describe it well enough. So you're gonna find your hands on your shoulders as if you're making like shoulder caps on each of your shoulders, and your elbows are pointing out to the right and left side. And as you inhale, we're gonna twist and inhale through the nose. And then as you exhale, you're gonna twist to the right and exhale out the nose. So it's inhale, twist to the left, exhale, twist to the right. And then we're gonna try to go kind of fast. So let's all just meet together, but you can go at your own pace. So take a normal breath, inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. And then you can begin on your own count. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Kind of like you're spinning things up, going as fast or as slow as feels good. If you can speed it up a bunch, then you get to imagine that you're one of those like spinning tops that's about to just shoot out into the sky. You might get a nice little back crack in there as well if you really twist as much as you can to the left and right. And feel free to close your eyes so you don't get dizzy if you open them. And then just keep going and see how audible you can make your breath. Inhale, exhale, and then take 50 more. So 50 on your own count. Doesn't matter how slow or as fast as you're going. There's no rush at all. Let's see if you can go a little bit faster. You probably have it in you, revving up your engine, bringing some fire, coming back to that summer energy, even though it's November. And then once you've done your 50 and there's no rush, you're gonna come back to center, hook your thumbs up overhead, big inhale through the nose whenever you get there. And then you'll take 3 more inhales through the mouth, like you're slurping up some water through a straw. And then exhale, let your arms drop and let everything fall down back to your thighs. Hands can be face up on your thighs for a sense of being open and available to all the grace that's going to come after you put in the effort of that breath work. And come back to your normal breath. Notice how you feel now, maybe a little bit more energized just by manipulating our breath. And gently begin to open your eyes and come onto your mat in an all fours position. So you can move your clock away. And let me send you the playlist if you want some music. Everyone's muted. So also if you want to play some pop music, I'm sure Dino does, then you can also play whatever you want. It's a free for all. Dino's clapping. There's some pop in this playlist. But so you're on your all fours. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Really measure yourself up so you're a perfect right angles and a perfect rectangle. And then from there, you're going to take some inhales and exhales with our cats and cows. So inhaling as you arch, look up. Exhale as you round, look towards your belly. Inhaling as you arch. And exhaling as you round, and see if you can find your own rhythm for today. And just so you're not alarmed, I will probably get up and kind of adjust Paige so you can watch Paige demo beautifully. You can wind your knees a little. Yeah, take up a little more space. Good. And really see if you can press the tops of your feet into the ground. And just take these at your own pace, however you're feeling today. We got some I don't know what the names of the planes are. We got some side to side movements with those Virasana breaths. So now we're doing forward and back with our cats and cows. And then don't worry, we'll hit all the other different planes as well. So take 10 more cats and cows at whatever pace that you're going. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then you can let that go. I like giving myself a little bit of a wag and shake just to reset myself. And then from there, we're gonna do my favorite thing of flipping our wrists. So you're gonna flip your right hand around 180 degrees and then make sure it's still underneath your shoulder. There's a slight bend in your right hand. There's more weight on the thumb side of your hand. And then you're gonna take circles with your hips to the right. Yeah. And your head can get involved here too, or you can circle it around. And if you don't want to do that, you can just gaze down and out in front of you. Lots of options. And just make sure that your wrist is fully parallel to the front of your mat or whatever you're on. It could be a carpet. And then take circles to the left. Going as big into your circles as you want. Yeah. And keep that nice slight bend in your elbows. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Take one more circle to the left. And then you're gonna flip your right hand back around the normal way and flip your left hand and have that slight bend in your elbow so it doesn't lock out. And then take circles to the left again. So we circle to the left. We're circling on our lunar side, the side of our feelings, getting more into our heart. So just see what circling to either direction brings up for you. One side might be easier to circle to than the other, just because one is probably our more dominant side. Yay. Keep going, circle it around. Take one more to the left. And then take your circles to the right. Very good. Letting your head get involved too again if you did that on the other side. No pressure though. Cool. Circling it all around, getting your hips kind of back to a child's pose if that's available. Take one more circle to the right and then come back to center. Flip your hand back around the normal way. Find your hands underneath your shoulders, knees under hips again. And then you can either grab for your blocks, which might be nice because we're going to use our blocks a lot later. So if you want to just get into the habit of using them, you can. Or you can just come up onto your fingertips if you don't have blocks or are feeling like you don't want to use blocks today. So Paige can show it on blocks and I'll just show it with my fingers. Yeah, so your hands are just coming up block underneath your shoulders. Yeah. And then you're just going to bring your right foot in between your hands. Yeah. So we're coming into two 90-degree angles with our legs. You're going to lift yourself up, reach your arms up, interlace your hands behind the base of your neck, bring your elbows up and in towards your face, look up towards the sky, and then tuck your chin in as you press your left hip forward. Well, you're pressing both hips forward. Yeah, so bring this knee in so it's right underneath, yeah. And then, yeah, exactly. So nice. Cool, so just make sure both knees are at a 90-degree angle, which looks like this. Yeah. And it's honestly, it's so hard to balance like this. So if you wobble and come out of it and then fall, amazing. Take one more breath here and then inhale, reach your arms up, place your hands back down on the floor, on the blocks if you have them. Bring your right knee back, give yourself a little wiggle and roll just to reset. And then place your left foot to your left thumb. Set yourself up, find your right angles, and then reach your arms up. Interlace your hands and then switch which pointer finger is on top so you have the opposite interlacing. Place that behind the base of your neck and then hug your elbows in and then tuck your chin. Yeah, so you should feel a nice little opening on the front of the right hip if you're really tucking your hips under as you tuck your chin in towards your chest too. Amazing. Woohoo. I really like this one because this really gets into our psoas muscle, which is a little tiny muscle that's in our hip joint. It wraps all around our hip. That's very important because it keeps our hips moving. Take one more cycle of breath and then reach your arms up to the sky, place them down on whatever you have. Bring your knee back, give yourself that little wiggle. And then you're gonna remove the blocks, just keep them at arm's distance though on the sides of your mat. Place your hands back down. Find them about a palm print in front of where they are. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, and then stick your butt up to the sky to come into your first down dog. And from there, you can pedal it out, take all tons of movement, circling the arm and the leg. Really see if you can move it around a lot. Yeah. And just take a bunch of little wiggles. You can shake an arm, you can shake a leg, you can shake your head, yes and no. Amazing. And then find a little bit of visible stillness in this dog. It's not the most formal dog of our life, but it will be great. And then find a slight bend in your knees. And then bend your knees and stick your butt up to the sky. Yeah, keep your knees bent the whole time. Yeah, and then step your right foot forward, just a footprint. So the whole right foot presses down on the ground. Yeah, the left foot stays bent a little bit too. And then you're just stretching. Oh, actually straighten your right leg, but keep your left knee bent. So then you get a nice stretch in your hamstring. Yeah. Cool. Oh, looks like this. Bend your knees, stick your butt up. Cool, take one more cycle of breath here, just getting into the back of that right leg for the first time. And then step your right foot back towards your left. Yep, bend the knees, stick the butt up. And then step your left foot forward a footprint. You can let that left foot straighten, keep your right knee bent. Sorry, left and right, it's hard today. Yeah. And you can just take any sort of rocks or little wiggles that feel nice in this pose too. You can rock your hips from right to left. We're only here for 2 more breaths. So listen to your inhale, listen to your exhale. Count to 2. It's very hard. And as you exhale, step your left foot back to meet your right, and then come forward and through to a plank pose. So notice if you had to move your feet or your hands and just let that be what it was. And then find your hands underneath your shoulders. Your legs are super engaged. Your heels are as if they're pressing up against a wall. So your heels and your feet are at a 90-degree angle. And then from there, without moving your hands and your feet, bend your knees and stick your butt up to the sky. And keep a slight bend in your knees the whole time in your dog. Cool. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then place your knees back down on the ground. And then just sit up on your heels. Okay, we're gonna take a little intermission of moving our mats to a wall because we did some wall stuff last week. That was really fun. So if you're not near a wall, you can honestly just stay where you are. This is not like required. I just like using the wall because all of our apartments have walls, so it's a universal prop that we can use for things. So Paige and I are just gonna, you can go in the front because then you can demo more. But the wall, you're just gonna bring your mat up to one side of the wall. Amazing. Yeah. And I'll just move the camera so that you can see us a little bit better, but it already looks wonderful. It's like we planned this. Haha. Okay. Is everyone at a wall? I'm gonna assume yes. Just bring anything that you need with you. Cool. And then from there, come back to your plank pose. Yeah. And then bend your knees and stick your butt up and come into your downward facing dog. Amazing. And keep that slight bend in your knees the whole time. That's perfect. And imagine that you're widening your knees out a little bit. Yeah, and like you're kind of pigeon-toeing your feet in towards one another because that gives you more space in your pelvis and your low back, which then makes it easier to Good. Amazing. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then as you inhale on your next breath, lift your right leg up to the sky. And oh boy, what's there? The wall. So have your hips on the same, what's it called? Your hips are square, so they're in the same line. And then your toe can come up and press the wall. Paige is flexible because we dance together and she's wonderful. So you can't really see her foot on the wall, but just find your foot on the wall. It could be like where my hand is, and that's great. But from there, now you get to use the normal force of the wall. We love physics. Take one more breath here, and then bring your right foot to your right thumb, coming into a low lunge. Yeah, beautiful. And from there, set yourself up. So your right knee is right on top of your right ankle. Place your back knee down, untuck your back toes, and then see if you can find a connection between your right armpit and your right knee. Yeah, but so you're on top of it. Yeah, and this knee is still at a 90-degree angle. So you can move it forward. Yeah, exactly. And then find your blocks underneath each hand. So books are perfect for this next thing that we're going to do. And you should find them like framing your, yeah, perfect. Cool. Great. So we're ready to go. As you inhale, tuck your right toes up towards the sky, come back into a runner stretch. Exhale, come back into your low lunge. Inhale, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, begin to straighten into both legs. Exhale, come back into your low lunge. Inhale, come into that runner stretch, lift the right toes up. And go at your own pace. If you're breathing slower than me, please go slower. Exhale, lunge. And then inhale, straighten both legs, and exhale, lunge. And you can pause at any point as we just flow through this, but this is just, once again, beginning to warm up our hamstrings and the backs of our legs. Yeah. And see if you can always keep a slight bend in your legs at all times, just so that you know you're engaging in the legs, you're not locking out. Amazing. Yeah. And take a few more rounds of this. Yeah. Gazing down and out with your head so you're not tucking it in. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. So nice. And take one more full round wherever you are. Great. Yeah. Beautiful square hips. Cool. And once you meet back in your lunge, you're going to tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, keep your hands on your blocks, and then just step your left foot up to meet your right. From there, we're going to measure out hips width distance. So place your two fists together and put them in between your arches. Have a slight bend in your knees still, and see if you can find your knees guiding in towards your armpits. Our body is meant to fit itself, so these are good points of measure. And then let your head completely drop to the ground, give it a little shake. You can rock your neck from right to left. Really let it all release, and you can also let your arms go too. They don't need to stay in that fist bump of sorts. So nice. Great. From here, you're going to take one of your blocks and place it underneath your face. Doesn't matter what height it's on. Your left hand is going to come on it. And as you inhale, you're going to lift your right arm up to the sky, twist. Exhale, swim your right hand down and replace your right or left with your right. Inhale, swim. Exhale, swim again. Inhale, lift your right arm up. Exhale, swim. Beautiful. And keep that slight bend in both knees the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. And just take this for a few more rounds. Imagine that it's summer and you're at the beach and you get to swim. It's not 8 degrees outside. Cool. Take one more right and left wherever you are. And then we'll all meet Just let your head hang, let your arms hang, just let your body hang over like a wet noodle, which is always a wonderful place to be. And then slowly, slowly, as slow as you can, you're going to roll yourself up to stand. Your head is last to lift, stacking vertebra on top of vertebra until you get to the top, and you can just give your shoulders and arms a little wiggle and roll. Great. Take one more cycle of breath here, just standing on your feet. And then as you inhale, swim your arms up, press palms together overhead. Exhale, forward fold yourself back down. It's like bending the knees again. Amazing. And then you're going to move the blocks out of your way to just on the either side of your mat. Place your hands down and then step yourself back to your downward facing dog. Yeah, so find that nice long stance. Feel free to come forward to a plank pose and then come back into your dog to make sure that you find your measure. Yeah, bend your knees and stick your butt up. And the reason that we bend our knees is because a bend in anything is like a conjunction and allows the energy to flow from one place to another. It's like thinking of a really strong, like squiggly root in a tree versus like a twig that when you step on it snaps. We want to be able to withstand everything, so we add a bend to our knees so that we can have the levity and the leverage and the ability to move all the things around. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up to the sky and have it touch the wall wherever it touches. Yeah, but then, yeah, you can just remeasure yourself. Bend your knees. Yeah. Bend your knees and still have your heel lifted up, but there's energy from the heel going down. Hips are still square. Use the wall for leverage to make it easier. And as you exhale, step your left foot to your left thumb. Awesome. So find your lunge again. Make sure you're at 2 perfect 90-degree angles or just one with your front leg. Right, hands come back on your blocks. So bring your blocks on your mat, framing your front foot. Place your back knee down, untuck the back toes. Find your lunge. Take your time to set yourself up. Amazing. And then as you inhale, you're going to lift your left toes up to the sky. Bring yourself back to that runner stretch. And then exhale, low lunge. Inhale, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, begin to straighten both legs. Doesn't matter how straight they get. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, runner stretch, lift the left toes up to the sky. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, begin to straighten both legs. Exhale, low lunge. And really think about this whole time that you're sticking your butt out so you have a nice long spine. I like to think of always having my chest and my belly connected to my left thigh the whole time, which then makes that happen. So if you stay connected with your chest and your thigh on your leg, then you will always have a nice, long, beautiful crescendo in your spine because your body fits itself and that's how it wants to fit. Amazing. Take one more full round. Letting everything just move around. Yeah, nice. Then we'll all meet back in our low lunge whenever we get there. You can tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and step your right foot up to meet your left. So coming into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Lefts and rights are the hardest part of yoga. Then once you get there, find that hips width distance again if you need to, or you can just know, slight bend in your knees and let your body just hang over. Give yourself a little wiggle, shake, wiggle, rattle and roll, whatever you want to do. Amazing. And then as you inhale, place your hands on your shins, lengthen your spine out in front of you, and then exhale, see if you can wrap your arms around your calves and your shins and just hug yourself in together. You'll feel this on your butt and your hamstrings and honestly everywhere, maybe even in the low back.
And just imagine that there's that magnet connecting the crown of the head all the way to the ground. And just find your breath here. Breathe into the sensation. Make sure your knees are slightly bent. See if your knees can connect with your armpits as your armpits wrap around your calves and your shins. So then your forearms and your calves kind of become like analogous parts of your body, which they are already. Take one more breath here. Exhale, let that wrap go, and then slowly, slowly again, roll yourself up to stand. See if you can go slower than last time.
Yeah. Stacking vertebra on top of vertebra. Give yourself that little wiggle and roll with your head or anything. And then hook your thumbs up overhead. Inhale, reach up and over to the right. Yeah. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, up and over to the left. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, up and over to the right. Exhale, back to center. One more, up and over to the left. Exhale, back to center. Reach your fingertips super, super high to the sky, and then let yourself go. Let your arms just drop down. Yeah. Inhale, reach the arms up, press palms together overhead. Exhale, forward fold. And then step or hop yourself back to your downward facing dog. From here, we're going to come into a tuck-toed up dog. So bring your body forward and through to a plank. And then from there, just let your hips drop into an up dog, but keep your legs engaged and toes tucked. And then bend the knees and stick your butt up, downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Yeah, wonderful. If you want to take that again, you can. I'm just going to leave you here, Paige. Just let me pull you back in. Take one more cycle of breath. And then on your next inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky again. Use the wall, however you please. You can have some freedom here. So if you want to open your hip or something, take anything that feels fun to do using the wall. We love the wall. Yeah, don't worry, Paige, we're gonna do that right after, so don't cheat. Okay, and then step your right foot to your left thumb. Right, left. I know, it's very hard. Yeah, amazing. So now you're in this like cross lunge thing. Make sure that your right knee is right on top of your right ankle. Beautiful. And then from here, begin to straighten both legs. You can place your hands on blocks again if you want to. Keeping a slight bend in both knees. Lifting your left heel up towards the sky so your hips stay super lifted. Yeah. And then look, gaze out. Yeah, because you still want that long down dog like back in your spine. So you can put your hands on blocks, Paige. Yeah, and then that's so much better. It's so much better to use props. I use props way too much. Take one more cycle of breath. And then bend your right knee back down. And then if you're using props, great, but then heel toe your right foot so it becomes on the outside of the right hand. So you can just move that around. We're coming into lizard. So your right toes will come out to like a ballet first position. You can't see my foot. I like to find that on either side of the mat. So my heel's on the mat and my toes are on the floor. And then you can place your back knee down, untuck the back toes. Keep your hands on the blocks, even if you don't want to. Welcome to the world of blocks. And then take circles with your hips to the right. Yeah, and you can come back into like that runner's stretch thing again. So you can let your entire front leg straighten as you take these circles to get even more range. Yeah, and then take a few more to the right. Beautiful. And then take some circles to the left. So good. Cool. And from there, come back into your lizard pose. And then we'll take a few breaths in whatever variation of lizard that you want. So keep the blocks there. Sorry, it's block required or book required. And then you can place your forearms on the blocks. Yeah, you can put them on a lower height or you can keep your hands still up. And then just let your head drop from there. Yeah. So you still want your nice long spine, but then you can just let your head drop. Amazing. Cool. Take one more cycle of breath here in whatever variation of lizard that you have. And then this time, bring your blocks or books on their lowest height. Press your hands back into them. And then keeping your hands on the block, step yourself back into your downward facing dog. Ta-da, blocks of dog. Amazing. Cool. And then let the blocks go. So just do whatever little awkward thing you want to do to remove the blocks. Amazing. Bring your body forward and through to a top-toed up dog to rinse it all out. Yeah, so nice, Paige. And then bend the knees, stick the butt up, downward facing dog. So good. Inhale, bring your body forward and through to a plank pose. And then wrapping your elbows in towards your chest, just slowly, slowly lower yourself down onto the ground. Little intermission before we do the other side. From there, you're going to find your hands on the wood floor or whatever type of floor you have next to you. And yeah, your elbows are going to be facing up to the sky like you're a praying mantis or like a goal pose type thing. And as you inhale, you're going to slowly lift your chest, neck, and head up to the sky. And then exhale, undulate your spine back down. Yeah. Inhale, roll yourself up. Exhale, let yourself go back down. And take 3 more. Inhaling at your own pace. Exhaling back down. Keep going. Yeah, beautiful. Really creating a lot of space in your back so you're not crunching, you're just lifting up and out like a crescent moon. And after you've finished your 5th one, then you can make a palm pillow for your forehead underneath your forehead. So palm on top of palm. And you can rest your forehead on it, and then you can rock your hips from right to left. Give your back a little break. So nice. And from there, find your hands underneath your shoulders again, and then replace your hands with your elbows. So we're coming into Sphinx pose. Yeah. So bring your, and then bring them in more. Yeah, so your elbows come right underneath your shoulders, like you're hugging them in. Your spine is super long. Beautiful. Take one more cycle of breath here, remembering this movement and this shape of where your arms are. And then you're going to tuck your toes and bring yourself into a forearm plank for 3 breaths. So have that beginning, middle, and end. You can breathe as slow or as fast as you want to. If you hate it, breathe faster. And after you've finished your 3rd breath, you'll press into your left hand, you'll press into your right hand, and then you'll bring yourself up into a downward facing dog again. Yeah. So nice. If you want to take an up dog to a down dog, go for it. Otherwise, you can chill in your down dog and really find those knees bent and butt sticking up to the sky. So nice. Inhale, lift your left leg up, down dog split. Use the wall, take a variation on the wall, do something weird. Yay. Give your hips and legs a new experience. And then step your left foot to your right thumb. Cool. Amazing. And find your blocks again underneath your hands. Do whatever you need. And then pressing down into the front of the left foot, then begin to straighten your back leg and your front leg. Yeah, so we're just getting that nice crossed hamstring stretch, which is just a different part of our hamstring. Amazing. Cool. Take one more cycle of breath, or take a few more. We would definitely hear it a lot longer on the other side. That is one thing that I never know exactly how to get right, is like, how long do we actually spend on one side versus the other side? So I hope it feels even for you all. Take one more cycle of breath now. So nice. Beautiful long spine. And then bend back into that left knee and finagle your left foot until it gets on the outside of your left hand. Yeah, coming into lizard, place the back knee down, let the toes untuck. Your left toes are on a 45-degree angle. Hands are still on blocks, and then take those circles and see how big your range can be. See how small your range can be. Whatever feels good. Circling right and circling left, or whichever way you started first, circling left and circling right. Amazing. Take one more circle in either direction. And then from there, come back into your formal lizard pose. Place your forearms on the blocks or just leave your hands up, or you can put your elbows on the blocks and do something else, whatever feels good. Yeah, and just let your head relax, let your hips do whatever they want here. Your hands can totally still be down. It doesn't matter how far you go at all in any of these poses. It's just about the experience that it's giving for you. So it doesn't matter what it looks like at all, as long as you have good right angles so that there's safety. The only thing that matters is having good angles and a good basis with your lower body, just so that you can do more crazy things with your upper body, and also so that you stay safe and you can use yoga as a longevity practice to live longer and feel better than to look super cool on Instagram. Take one more breath here. And once again, you can press your hands back up into those blocks. Keep the blocks there. And on your own time, step yourself back to your downward facing dog. Cool. Bend your knees and stick your butt up. Your heels should not be touching the floor. And if they are, then you can lengthen out your arms and legs so that you have a longer stance. And then awkwardly or gracefully remove the blocks from underneath your hands. Yeah. And then the next thing that we'll do, we're going to come into a standing split at the wall, so you can move your dog or wherever you want to go, probably further away from the wall so you have more space to walk back up the wall. So bend your knees, stick your butt up, find your dog, and then lift your right leg up to the sky, find it on the wall. Yeah, so hips are square, toes are facing down. You have a nice little floint, as they say, on the wall. And then begin to walk your hands back towards your feet. And once again, it does not matter how high you go, your hips stay square the whole time. Yeah, have a nice little bend in your bottom leg. Yeah, just so you have the ability to stand. And if you need to like move yourself around or move your body forward or back just to find some balance, you can. Yeah, really nice. The priority here is that your hips stay square. And after that, you can do whatever you want. Take one more cycle of breath. Nice. And then step your right foot to your right thumb, come into a lunge again. Yeah, great. And then find your hands on blocks. I like having my blocks on the medium height here because what we're about to do are some lunge squat jump things, which sound harder than they are. But all you're gonna do, you're in your lunge, hands are on your blocks, and then without lifting up your hips super high, you're gonna switch hop to have your other lunge. Yeah. And then take this like 3 or 4 times. Yeah. And as you keep switch hopping, see if your right foot can come further than a 90-degree angle. Yeah. And take one more. And then your right foot's like super far in front of you. And then see how you can go. If you can squeech or squiggle, what is this word? Wiggle your right heel a little bit forward. Your hips stay square the whole time. And what's really nice about having your blocks here so that you can just stick them right up under you. And if you want to have 2 blocks, to come in your version of a split. Yeah. Amazing. And just really find what we call our perineum, which is right in between our sits bones, shooting down onto the split or onto the block. And it doesn't matter. Also, if you're like, I don't want to do that, you can just stay like this in your lunge. That's amazing. Doesn't matter how high you are, you can stay like this. But if you are flexing like Paige, put a block under you and make sure your hips are square. Yeah. It's honestly nice to have more blocks under you. If you try it on the medium height, it'll feel nicer. And then from there, so you can grab opposite elbows and lift yourself up. Yeah. And you can untuck your back toes if it gives you more leverage too. But your right foot is flexed and there's a slight bend in your front knee, so your leg's not locked out and your hips are square. And your elbows come right into your hands like a ball and mitt fit. And if you have more blocks or something, you can always just put your hands on blocks or the walls or anything. Take one more breath here. I know you're all doing amazing. And then let your arms go, remove whatever block is under you. And then as gently or slowly as you want, just come back into your lunge and come back into your down dog. Yeah. Give yourself a little rock from right to left. Yeah, pedal it out. You can lengthen your dog stance, Paige. So you can bring her up. Yeah, and then you'll want to bend your knees and stick your butt up, and then you'll get a really nice crescendo in your spine. Yeah, that's what we want. Perfect. Great, let's go to the other side. Woohoo! So lift your left leg up, down dog split. And then you know where we're going. So you can either scoot your right foot forward a little bit, scoot your arms back, wherever you want, just so that your hips stay square. Yeah, and that won't get you as high, which is totally fine. Eventually you'll get there if you do this enough. It's all about time and repetition. There's nothing else to it. Yeah. And you can walk your hands as far back towards your feet as you want. Take one more cycle of breath here. Yeah, that's much better. And then as you exhale, step your left foot forward to come into a low lunge. Set your lunge up. And then take like 4 to 6 lunge hops on this side, each time bringing the left foot a little bit more forward so that you're getting yourself ready to come into the split. And it'll be over before you know it, if you really don't want to do this. Cool. And then once you're there with your left foot far out in front of you, you'll have your heel come down on the ground and your toes will lift up. You'll scooch it a little bit more forward. You'll let your back leg come down, however it feels. And then I'm definitely going to put blocks up under me. If you don't want to have blocks under you and you're much further up off the ground, just keep your hands on blocks. Otherwise, keep wrapping the right hip forward so that your hips stay square. And then come to that opposite elbow grab, this time opposite elbow on top. Yeah. Amazing. So good. And just breathe. When we grab opposite elbows, we're opening up the portals to our lungs, which are our armpits. So you can imagine that you're flying across something, which is what Hanuman was doing. This pose is called Hanumanasana. And Hanuman was a monkey god that was leaping over a river. And that's why it looks like a split, because he was leaping. Yoga history. Take one more cycle of breath. And then let your arms come down. And yay, we're done with splits for today. You did it. And then gently bring yourself back to your downward facing dog in whatever way feels comfortable. You can even sit on the floor and curse at me and then go back to your dog. Okay, cool. So this is going to be one of our last down dogs. So take anything that feels nice. And then we're going to bring ourselves down into a wide knee child's pose. So bring your knees as wide as the mat. big toes touching, heels come back, or hip come back towards your heels. And yeah, and then your chest can just come in between your legs. And just breathe. Your arms can even come as wide as your mat too, so you make a star and you take up more space. Encourage your joints to have more space in them. So the whole point of yoga is to create space in our joints so that we have more mobility, ability, stability, and being flexible and getting a nice little stretches in our muscles is always a wonderful indirect side effect. But the point of yoga is to be able to live better off of our mats. And I always like to say, to make it easier to walk upstairs. And by creating more space in our joints, and our arms and legs and hips and chests and armpits and whatever, have more space to give us the ability to walk better and all that stuff, because there's more space for them to carry the weight. Take one more cycle of breath. And then slowly, slowly come to sit up on your heels. We are going to come into a headstand practice because I know Quentin wanted to do this the other day and Paige also wants to do this, but if you're like, I'm good, you can just come into Shavasana right now and just lie down however you like. Otherwise, if you want to try a headstand, we can try a bunch of different variations, but if you want to come into Shavasana, you can. I'm just going to demo on Paige's mat for a second right here, but that's also why we're towards the wall, because if you want to do a headstand, it's better to practice at a wall because then you have a boundary, and boundaries are always nice. So if we remind ourselves of what it was like in that space pose, I always come into like this little ball shaped child's pose first and just place my forearms right in front of me. Then I do that opposite elbow grip just to make sure I'm at my right shoulder, or I'm at the shoulder distance that I want to be at. My arms come back out. I'm going to interlace my hands together and then uninterlace my pinkies so my pinkies are solidly on the ground. From there, I'm going to place the crown of my head on the ground. We talked about the crown of the head a lot today. I'm going to tuck my toes and lift myself up. And if this is all you want to do today, then just stay here. This is a really nice, this gives you the same sensation as a headstand. So you can really just do this. But then if you want to keep going, I kick. You do not kick. You do not kick or jump. You gently hug your right foot in towards your butt, hug your left foot in towards your butt. You can just stay in this egg shape, or you can lift your legs up to the sky. But the reason it's nice to be on a wall is that I can just kick the wall if the wall is in front of me and just let my legs rest there. But you can stop at any point on that journey of headstand that you want to do. And if you are going to do it against a wall, just make sure you have like probably like 7 centimeters or 3 to 4 inches in front of you. I don't know the conversion. But if you already are into it, or if you're already in Shavasana, just keep doing your thing. But yeah, so grab your opposite elbows first, Paige. And then let your forearms come out from that. Yeah, and then interlate, perfect. And then place the front of your head on the ground. And now you can tuck your toes under and come into like this weird down dog-like thing. Walk your feet in towards your face. Yeah, and then you can hug your knee, one knee in. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And then you can come up. So nice. And 80% of the weight is in your arms. So press down in your arms and wrap them in towards your face. Take one more cycle of breath wherever you are. And then gently bend your knees back in towards you. And let your legs come down. And then you can come back into your child's pose. And then you can take TV watching pose with your neck in your hands if that feels nice to you too, or you can just stay in your child's pose. And whatever point you got to in that headstand, yay. And if you're resting already in Shavasana, then that sounds wonderful. Maybe you feel it in your neck, don't worry. It's probably just because your neck muscles are working. And the first, like, probably 500 to 1,000 times I did a headstand, I always felt it in my neck. And now, after you keep practicing, then your arms also you end up using more of your arms like you should over time. So just keep practicing it. Wherever you are, gently make your way onto your back in whatever way feels nice. Coming into your Shavasana. Just make sure you're not touching anything. Yeah, so legs can come out as wide as the mat, arms can go down by your side, palms face up if you aren't already there. And just really breathe here. Take the time to just know that you get to do nothing for a few more minutes. And just keep breathing, following your breath. See if you can stay focused on your breath the whole time. Begin to deepen your breath. Coming back to your breath if your mind wandered somewhere else. And it doesn't really matter if it did, it's just a matter of coming back to it. And begin to bring some wiggles back into your fingers and your toes until it's enough movement to roll you over onto your right side, the side of our liver, the side of our rationale, to give us a little bit more of that to go on with our day. And using the top arm, press yourself up to come into a comfortable seat. You can start or end how we started. Eyes will stay closed. Letting everything stay inward for a little bit longer. And just come back to your breath as you're seated. And then class will bring our palms to press at the center of our chest into prayer. Taking a nice little scan of how our body felt before and how it feels right now. Just noticing if there's even one slight difference. And we'll send out a little bit of gratitude to each other for all practicing together. And a little bit of gratitude to our minds and bodies and all that they do for us every single day. Bringing our thumb knuckles up to third eye center in between our eyebrows. And we'll end practice with a final bow. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Dana.
Yay, thanks guys. How do you feel?
Good. Thank you, Dana.